Welcome everyone to this postmortem meeting. Today we're dissecting a major production outage that impacted our customer-facing services for a solid 4 hours last week.
4 hours is unacceptable, Sam, especially given our redundancy protocols. I've pulled the initial telemetry data, and the cascade began with a database deadlock after a routine schema update.
4 hours cost us roughly $500,000 in lost transactions and potential churn, according to preliminary estimates. This impacts shareholder confidence, plain and simple.
That schema update was my team's responsibility. I remember pushing the button for the update. We followed the documented procedures, but obviously something went wrong.
Thanks, David. This meeting is about learning and improving, not placing blame. Let's start with a chronological timeline of the outage. Jordan, can you walk us through the initial events based on your data?
At 8 a.m. UTC, the scheduled schema update script began execution. By 8:05 a.m., database performance metrics started degrading. At 8:10 a.m., we detected a growing number of database connection timeouts, triggering our first alert.
Why did it take 5 minutes to notice the performance degradation? Our monitoring threshold seems way too high, if you ask me. That delay amplified the impact significantly.
The default threshold is based on historical averages. We can definitely reevaluate it, Alex. Continuing on at 8:15 a.m., the primary database instance became unresponsive, initiating an automatic failover to the secondary instance.
The failover should have resolved the issue, but it didn't. Why not? That's supposed to be our primary safeguard against this type of event.
That's the crucial point, David. The failover failed. The secondary instance experienced the same deadlock almost immediately due to the ongoing schema update process, replicating across both instances.
So the redundant system was a mirror of the failing primary? That sounds like a single point of failure disguised as a failover. That's marketing malpractice, Jordan.
It's a standard active-passive setup, Alex. The issue is the schema update propagated too quickly. At 8:20 a.m., with both database instances down, the application services started throwing errors, impacting user traffic globally.
My team manually intervened at that point, attempting to roll back the schema update. However, the rollback script also timed out due to the database issues.
So, the automated systems failed, and the manual intervention failed as well. What finally brought us back online, Jordan?
A senior DBA manually killed the schema update process on both instances. Then we flushed the connection pools on the application servers. Service restoration began around noon UTC.
4 hours? With a manual intervention? That screams lack of proper tooling and automation. We need to seriously invest in better operational infrastructure, or this will keep happening.
I agree, Alex. We need a better system for safely deploying schema changes, maybe a staged rollout with canary testing, and a more robust, automated rollback process.
Those are both valid points, David. We also need better rate limiting and circuit breakers to prevent cascading failures in the future. And real-time performance monitoring with dynamic threshold adjustments.
Okay, so a few key areas for improvement: schema deployment process, failover mechanism, monitoring and alerting thresholds, and manual intervention tooling. Let's capture those as actionable items. Alex, from a business perspective, what specific actions can we take to mitigate financial risk and rebuild customer trust?
First, transparency. A detailed public postmortem clearly explaining the issue and our corrective actions. Second, proactive communication with impacted customers, offering potential compensation or service credits.
Third, improve our status page. It was woefully out of date during the outage. People were relying on third-party monitoring services to know what was going on when the official source wasn't reliable.
Agreed. An inaccurate status page is worse than no status page. It erodes credibility. We need real-time automated updates, not manually entered fluff.
We can automate status updates based on system metrics, Alex. And we should integrate it directly with our incident management system for faster, more accurate communication.
Excellent. Let's add those to the list of action items as well. David, any final thoughts from your perspective?
just that this entire experience has been a wake-up call. We need to prioritize operational excellence and invest in the right tools and training to prevent these types of incidents from happening again. It directly impacts our customers and our business.
I agree completely. It's crucial that we transform these lessons into tangible improvements. To summarize the action items we've defined, action item 1, revamp the schema deployment process to include staged rollouts, canary testing, and automated rollbacks. Owner, David Chen's team. Priority, high. Action item 2, improve the failover mechanism to ensure true redundancy and prevent cascading failures. Owner, Jordan Singh's team. Priority, high. Action item 3, reevaluate monitoring and alerting thresholds for database performance. Implement real-time performance monitoring with dynamic threshold adjustments. Owner, Jordan Singh's team. Priority, high. Action item 4, develop improved manual intervention tooling and training for senior DBAs to quickly resolve database issues. Owner, David Chen's team. Priority, medium. Action item 5, create a detailed public postmortem clearly explaining the issue and our corrective actions. Owner, Alex Chen, with input from engineering. Priority, high. Action item 6, proactively communicate with impacted customers, offering potential compensation or service credits as appropriate. Owner, Alex Chen's team, in coordination with customer support. Priority, high. Action item 7, implement real-time automated updates for the status page integrated with the incident management system. Owner, Jordan Singh's team, in collaboration with communications. Priority, medium. Jordan, Alex, David, I want to thank you all for your honest feedback and collaborative spirit. I appreciate your willingness to participate in this process and work towards preventing future incidents. The follow-up list will be shared with everyone, and progress will be reviewed in the next meeting. It's key to schedule regular progress updates on these items.
Agreed, Sam. This has been a productive discussion, but the real work starts now, ensuring these action items are implemented effectively.
We will track the progress of all action items in Jira with clearly defined deadlines and owners. Regular follow-ups will be conducted to ensure accountability.
Communication is key. Provide weekly updates to stakeholders on the progress of these action items, demonstrating our commitment to improvement.
Before we close, any other thoughts or concerns?
I would recommend we also implement training sessions, especially for database administrators on the new deployment protocols. Make sure everyone knows what to do and why.
Good point, David. Documentation is also crucial. Update our runbooks and ensure all processes are clearly documented and easily accessible.
I suggest we have a review process for any major infrastructure changes involving key stakeholders from different teams to ensure a broader perspective and identify potential risks. Too much of the responsibility rested on one set of shoulders. We need redundancy for that too.
Excellent. Action items added. Thank you, team, for your contributions. Let's all commit to learning from this and improving our systems and processes to provide a more reliable and stable service for our customers. This officially concludes our postmortem meeting. This episode was brought to you by Unstruct AI, creating the most trusted AI news analysis platform with a focus on the human cost. After all, progress without humanity isn't progress at all. Thank you for joining us on this postmortem meeting of a large production outage. Hopefully, this episode has given you a framework for holding difficult conversations and creating a culture of learning and growth within your organization.
Remember, blameless postmortems are crucial for fostering trust and transparency. Focus on facts, data, and actions, not on assigning blame.
From a business perspective, effective postmortems demonstrate accountability and a commitment to continuous improvement, which strengthens customer relationships and builds brand loyalty.
And from a personal perspective, remember that mistakes are inevitable. Learning from them is what makes us stronger, both as individuals and as a team.
That's all for today. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next time.